We're back with another Chew Quieter, and we have two special guests with us today. The first guest I'm going to introduce is Sean Palestrini, a U.S. Navy veteran, and a good friend of mine, Ryan Liggett, owner of Beadlock Marketplace. Both were attending the fishing trip for Hero Offroad. So Armando, go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Give us some details.
So we've talked about Hero Offroad and what Hero Offroad does. And typically we play in the dirt. We race, we off-road, we do all kinds of weird stuff in the dirt. And Ray Carter and I had this idea last year after going on a trip that we needed to take a group of veterans and active duty members of service out. And we chartered a boat and took 18 guys mostly and one young lady, and had a great trip. There was 22 of us on the boat. We went for a 2-day trip, and we got on the boat, and actually it started at the dock. Like, everyone just started joking around and having fun, and it was like we were amped, ready to go, and everyone was just ready to go. We were at the restaurant having a beer, having drinks, had some dinner before we left. Then we went to the docks. We sat there and waited to ship out, and once we got out there, got in the boat, and like everything just like started going crazy. It was surreal. Everyone on the boat having a good time, everyone trying to get to know each other. I mean, it was like instant brotherhood in there. And then Captain was like, okay, we're gonna probably fish early, so we're gonna motor out, so go to bed. So I think a few of us hung out and shot the shit in the galley for a little bit, and then everyone kind of get to bed. I know Ryan and Sean both had weird flights, so they were trying to get a little sleep before the madness started. And we got up in the morning. I say it was about 4:35, right as
it was.
Yeah, it was just before the sun came out, but pretty early, and we just started dropping hooks in the water, and all of a sudden fish started coming over the rail, and it was actually pretty cool to be there and have the action that we had. And I think we started 4:35-ish, started bringing fish in, and then we went for a few hours of fighting. I think there was the morning was our biggest catch was in the morning before about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and most of the big fish came over the rail that time.
Yeah,
Bree was the female Army vet that came with us, and Captain hooked up on a fish and handed it over to her. And she fought this 130 pounder, and she weighed, what did we weigh on a scale? 109 pounds, 110 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, the fish weighed more than she did.
The fish weighed more than she did. There was a gutted fish already. It was bled and gut.
She wouldn't get,
and it weighed more than her.
That thing the whole way.
And she fought it the whole way.
Fought it the whole way.
Yeah, it was a kick ass, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the trip. And we just continued to hit good spots of fish, and we fished until like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock that day, and we limited out, and we were just done. We're
totally
done. And then all of us are just kind of beat and spent. And there was a point where we were in a spot and there was fish just coming over the rail. There was a stack of fish in front of the boat, stack of fish in the back of the boat. There was, I mean, it was a massacre. The pictures, I'll send you pictures that we can add to this.
Oh yeah.
And it was just a massacre of blood and everything throughout the boat during that time. We hit limit, and the captain had to call in another boat because the fish weren't leaving. And the other boat came in and parked about 100 yards from us. They started dropping in, and all of a sudden they were hooked up, and we were getting ready. We were getting ready to leave, and they're already hooking up and pulling fish in. It was just that day.
We were all cheering.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, it was just like, all right, we're handing over the torch. We can't do any more. I mean, once you limit, you're just done. it's like time to go home.
I don't think
so.
I don't think I
no, it was.
My arms were just rough.
Yeah, it was bad. I didn't want to even put another fish on the freaking hook and throw it out. I was just done.
So Ryan, I'm gonna ask you really quick.
Yeah.
What made you want to sponsor this event?
You, I, and Armando, we have a relationship that goes back to 2016, 2017 with Hero Offroad. We filmed Crawl 5280. We filmed the Patriot Crawl starting in Moab. And I think I fell in love with the organization and what they stand for back then. And I was talking with Armando about the trip, and he mentioned, hey, we have some spots open. I said, hey, well, what can I do to help out? Those trips are not cheap by any means. I'd like to be able to give back to some of the veterans and pay for someone's ride, pay for someone's way so they can experience that trip. My son and I, we got into fishing a couple years ago, and that's something that we always wanted to do, is say, hey, let's go deep sea fishing. So when it came up, I said, all right, that's, we'll pay someone's way and we'll come along for the ride. And it was an experience of a lifetime for sure.
Right on. And Sean, I know you being a Navy guy, I'm sure you dropped so many, I'm used to this being on a boat out there. So tell me what it was like for you, your experience in being with a bunch of vets again.
Being a veteran and a Navy veteran, I slept like a baby on that boat. It just took me right back. The hum of the motor, the movement of the ocean. It was awesome. No, but it was a different experience. That's a lot smaller boat than I was on.
What was the boat you're on again?
He's used to boats full of seamen.
Among other things.
Yep.
So how many times did Sean pull out his pee-pee?
Ryan,
I didn't see it not once.
Ryan, I want to thank you.
It was zero times. But then again, Ryan and I shared a room, and Sean and
Sean and Noah.
Sean and Noah were in the room. So I don't know. I walked in the morning to say bye, and I got a hug and a towel, and I was like, "Oh, I'm getting it tonight. I'll get it this morning."
So day one, you guys limit pretty early.
I didn't want to embarrass you. I had to put a towel on.
This guy.
So day one, you guys limit pretty early. What happens on day two?
So we get up. Everyone kind of just relaxes. We have a good evening, good dinner. We hung out and again had some beers, shared some fish stories. Everyone was kind of beat up, but it was that excitement of the day that we had was like a once in a lifetime day for me, for anyone who's fishing. That's the day that you talk about forever.
Right.
There's that many fish and that much activity and the adrenaline going through there. Everyone was just on cloud nine. Yeah, it was just cloud nine. And then go to sleep. And again, right before the sun came up, we were at the kelps and we started targeting a little bit of Dorado, which is a mahi, and yellowtail. And we got to the kelp, and first drop, I drop in probably third fish in the water is mine. I hook up and get it to the boat, and it's so much excitement. It's a cluster of everything. I'm like ducking in and out. There's like 4 poles around me. There's lines tangled up and around me, and I'm trying to get in and out. The deckhands are pulling lines and rods and trying to get everything untangled. I finally get to the point where I catch it. I'm up behind people, and there's a crowd of people in front of me. I can barely see the rail. I can't see over to see where the fish is at. I'm just blindly reeling in and pulling up, reeling. And I got to the boat. They went to the gaff, missed the gaff. And then I guess when that happened, I thought they were pulling it up, and I pulled up on the rod. And as soon as it pulled out of the water, it bit the line off. Wow. So But
And that was the biggest bite of the day.
that was the biggest one of the day, and that was the only bite I had of mahi the whole day.
Yeah.
But
He was so
also,
mad.
we had a great day of freaking mahi. Everyone had mahi pulling in. They were around us, and it was really cool to have that different fishing because people are actually going, I can see them out there. It's like a school of fish around you, and you just can't catch them. But we caught them. We caught a bunch of them. We brought a bunch in. I did hook up again, but I hooked up with one of the other guys on the boat. So two of us were fighting this one fish, but I think we were fighting opposite. So when it finally came in, it was like two hooks in its mouth. I was like, just take him. I was there for them. So I was like, nah, you take the fish. I'll get another one.
Yeah.
I got zero that day, but luckily Mr. Ray Carter doesn't really eat fish, so I took a couple home.
So maybe Ryan can tell
Nice.
me this because I've never fished before, but I know since you have, I don't know, it's your first time on deep sea, so maybe you can tell me, maybe not. How do you target certain fish in the ocean? It's not like you can go to a certain area where you know deer are going to be or where elk is going to be. So how do you target fish in a vast ocean that you can't see in?
Get the Pacific
Yeah.
Queen.
In my experience, you go off of what the captain recommends. For tuna, they tell you there's fish 300 feet down. There's a big school of fish. Drop your line 300 feet down if you're jigging, or they use what's called fly lining, which is you just take a chum fish, sardine, put it on your hook and throw it out there live and let it swim around. We did that for the tuna and for the Dorado. The Dorado like to hang around those kelp patches. They like anything that's hanging on the surface. They kind of hang out underneath it, whether it be a log, a tree, a flipped over boat, anything that they can hide under that floats on the surface, them Dorado and the yellowtail will kind of hang out with. But the tuna tend to be super deep. You're either jigging with a jig. I mean, they were 9-10 inches long, dropping them straight down. I think the jigging was harder to get the jig up and down through the water pocket than it was to reel in the dang fish.
Yeah. So we go on the Pacific Queen, and the captain Gavin is really good with radar, sonar. They have a good group of other captains that they talk to, and they run a little bit of intel back and forth. They also use an air service that goes around and finds boils and looks and finds places to go. So they're contributing to a service, which then tells them, okay, they've moved over here, which moves way faster than the boat can to get to those points. So essentially they say, okay, head over here, they head over there, and hopefully that they get them and they're still there. So there's a lot of intel going out, similar to going out and finding deer and finding a spot where you can actually find and target them. You're doing the same thing with the fishing. You're just using different techniques to target and find their location.
That's interesting. Now, Sean, I think you said you were on a destroyer.
Yes.
Did you do any fishing off that?
We did a few times. Like we'd have, they called them still beach picnics on Sundays sometimes, like when we were out away from stuff. And I never caught anything. I remember like 4 or 5 tuna being caught, more my and Dorado and yellowtail, but nothing like these bluefin. That was a completely different experience. It was incredible.
How many personnel were on the Kincaid with you? Approximately
800, I think.
Oh wow, that many.
5 to 8. I could find out. It's been 30 years. So
let's say you're out fishing on the Kincaid and you happen to catch tuna or shark or whatever it might be. Yeah, how do you go about processing that on a boat?
So when we had the Still Beach picnics, they had these drums that were cut, and they would hang them over the side and fill them full of charcoal, and the mess decks, the cooks would come out and they would cook them on the barbecue, because we'd have hamburgers and stuff out there when we do Still Beach. So when they caught the tuna, they would grill them out there on the back of the boat on the fantail.
So these were designated days. There wasn't just like it was
Just
Wednesday you wanted to go fishing.
Kind of relax and just do your watches, and then everybody hung out on the back of the boat. Relaxed uniforms. Out there with your shirts off and everything. They even had swim days where they jump in and swim. And I was a gunner's mate, so we'd have to have shark watch while other people, stand up there with
that is true. Then I always thought that was just like a fun thing people told. Tell me about that a little bit.
It's a lot more tiring. Even when I was 23 years old and I was out doing it, you're out there swimming in the ocean, and it's eerie because there's big things that want to kill you in the ocean.
Yep.
And diving off was the coolest part, but you get out there and you're swimming. You know how tiring swimming is, but then you got to climb up this Jacob's ladder. Like, that's a rope ladder that's swinging like this. It was, you do it a couple of times, you're pretty tired. You're like, I'm going to stay up here for the rest. But no, they really have swim call, and not very often. I think we did it maybe 3-4 times in my 5 years, but it was still pretty awesome to do. We had a pretty good crew aboard the Kincaid.
What was your favorite port of harbor?
Australia, by
really?
far. No, there was more women on the pier when we left Melbourne, Australia, than there were when we left San Diego to go to war. They love us down there.
So that's when you took your shirt off, and they were like, "Ooh, look at him!"
A lot skinnier back then, bro.
Oh, I'm sure you were. We all were.
Now I got a pony keg. Tell you what, we had a good crew aboard this boat on this fishing trip. We had a really, like, everybody just got along. It was like you could tell from the beginning that it was going to be a good time, and it was. Thank you guys so much for inviting me. I feel honored. It was a trip of a lifetime, and like Armando said, we slayed the fish. It was incredible. Like, I've never got into a batch of fish like that. I honored to get invited.
I can't imagine just the camaraderie that there was. I mean, I've experienced it from a distance when Ryan and I have been to events for veterans where we did some camping and off-roading for a weekend.
Like
and
that will
seeing.
Yep.
Exactly. Just seeing their faces on day one, you can see pain and hurt, and they're kind of confused, a sense of confusion, what's going to happen, that sort of thing. By the end of day one, their facial expressions literally change.
I could see that.
And then day two, there's a ton of smiles. By the end of the event, everyone is just hugging each other, laughing. Their sense of worth seems to come back just being around these guys. So
the only thing that's been different on the boat, I wish they had a bigger galley so we could all sit around and talk about fire when you guys did that. Like, I wish there was more a room, a bigger space for everybody to get in there at the same time. But it was still incredible. And my buddy Noah, who Ryan took as his guest, he was a Air Force veteran. He did 3 tours over in Afghanistan, and his third one didn't end up so well. So he was having a rough time, and this was so good for him. He opened up more than I've ever had him talk about his experiences, and it was really, really important to me that I was just so glad that he got to come. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ryan, for inviting him. Everything happens for a reason. I think that little last minute guy backed out, and Noah getting to come was a lot to do. Was very important.
Yeah, yes. Again, Ryan did so much for this trip, coming out, photography, B-Lock Marketplace coming in and bringing in some needed funding for adding in some extras that we didn't think we were going to be able to do. We wanted to pay galley tabs. We wanted to pay licenses. We wanted to make sure the rental gear was all taken care of. And that's all the stuff that all the sponsorship dollars were able to contribute to. They were given as much as we could possibly give to make sure that they weren't going to be responsible or on the line for too much. I know some of them got a big, giant freaking bill for processing after the fact.
It was a little
Yeah, that happens. Yep.
Because I've been eating so much tuna.
Yeah, but it's one of those things you make up through it. So, well,
see how much it's going to cost you.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky I get to bring it home and process on my own. It was nuts. And it's funny is that the two last minute entries to come on, Bree and Noah, this trip I think meant the most to those two.
I would agree.
They were the two individuals that probably had the most going on and some issues happening in their heads and in a direction that they didn't want to be into. And I think both of them just totally got onto this and latched on it. And both of them, their smiles, their laughs, their demeanor changing to their true personalities coming out just lit up the entire boat, which is great. It was. I still haven't been able to put out the full thank yous and story behind this because I still can't put these words in there. I'm so befuddled with everything. It's still it's a month ago, and I still can't wrap around what I really feel about it. All I know is just like, fuck, that was amazing. Fuck, I love my sponsors.
To add to that, Armando, with all the pictures we took, I think in the 40 hours that we were awake on the boat, I got over 1,200 pictures, and a couple hours of video. Running back through that, every time I look at a certain picture, I'm like, oh man, I remember that. You remember people's facial expressions when they've been fighting a fish for 45 minutes. And they finally gaff it and bring it up. There were a couple guys that just flat laid down on the deck next to their fish, and they just said, "Hey, time out. Give me 5 minutes because I can't breathe." There was all kinds of people grabbing the fishing poles while people were taking off jackets and taking breaks just so they could grab a drink of water. I remember Bree was just soaking wet. From bringing in that 130-pound fish, and when it finally came over the side, she was done. You didn't see her for like an hour back.
All she wanted to do was shotgun a beer and take a nap.
That was it. Yeah, you didn't see her much right after that.
And she did Noah with her, remember? It was Noah that shotgunned the beer with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So let's say that
that was early.
That fish was 130 pounds after processing. So before that,
before it was 130 pounds when it came over the rail. When it was bled and gutted, it was 109, and she only weighed like 102 pounds, soaking wet.
She was.
I can't imagine.
Trooper though, she was awesome. She made it. She put a lot of energy in that trip too. It was cool.
Yep.
So
and I think she brought in another one that was about 60, 70 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Yep. She had a bunch. I think she had 200 pounds of processing. Because how many?
Where'd you guys set sail from? Was it Long Beach?
San Diego.
San Diego.
Point Loma.
Fisherman's Landing. Yeah, just out of Point Loma. So right about where Sean was living when he was down there.
Yeah, right about in the middle where I was. I was at 32nd Street. Naval Yard.
To bring back a lot of memories.
It did, and we passed one of those new Arleigh Burke destroyers when we coming back into port, and I was just like, and there you see the sailors out there, and it gave me the chills. it was pretty awesome.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I'm overwhelmed with emotions of just the gratitude I was able to go on that trip. I couldn't have done without you guys, all the sponsors, Outlaw, Offroad. I don't want to start naming them all, but they all. I want to thank.
There was a handful. There was a handful
Yeah.
of people that the event couldn't have happened without. Doug at Outlaw was one of them. JP from Rock Crawler was another one. Can never thank those two guys enough for helping out and pitching in.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Definitely. We had a few more. We had the Mercedes-Benz dealership in California. They were supposed to send a vet that was one of their techs, but just their timing and their backlog didn't allow them to do that. But they pitched in, and Ray's going to kill me for this because I'm going to screw this up.
30 seconds to get it right.
Yeah, let me get this right.
I think he tagged them all in his Facebook post.
Yeah, I got them all, but I was like,
Well, I just want them all to know that they were very appreciative.
Oh, definitely. Without any of those, Rogers AC and Plumbing. They're out in Utah. They're friends of Ray Carter's. They came in big. Mike from Slow Pitch
West Coast Jiggers.
West Coast Jiggers. With the slow pitch jigging rigs, he brought a bunch of jigs and stuff for everyone to have.
Oh,
he was out.
Did everybody?
Yeah, he's got everyone hooked up. He came out and joined us, and he was tying people on, giving people pointers on techniques. He knows a lot of the local San Diego guys that came out with us, so it was good to have those guys come out and be with him a little more and understand the idea of what the slow jigging stuff is and learning how to do it the right way. Mike brought over, I don't know how many fish. He just kept killing it. Every time I looked over, he was pulling something in.
Oh, man. That was insane.
Yeah, that wasn't his first rodeo.
No. Oh, hell no. So, I mean, there's so much that went into this and so much that we did. It's just I've had a smile every time I thought about fishing. Every time I pulled a piece of fish out of the freezer from the trip, I just have a smile and I just sit there and I don't have to look at my phone. I just have the pictures right here and it just goes through. I'm going to be on cloud nine for quite some time now with that. So,
and I got a hunter that loves food. So when the little slivers that don't cut real well, I'll give them to him. And so he's all loving this trip. He loves fish. Come here.
Yeah, something else that we didn't talk about, something that was unexpected for me, going onto a boat in the middle of the ocean. I didn't realize the kind of food that we were going to have. We don't miss a meal around here. So that was something I was kind of like, oh, what do I bring? Snacks? Do we eat before, and the galley, those guys absolutely killed it with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was a 3-course meal for everything. They had snacks throughout the day, breakfast burritos, caprese sandwiches for lunch. We had tuna poke bowls one night with the fresh tuna right out of the ocean. Yeah,
what was his name? Mike?
Johnny is the so there's two chefs on the boat. Both of them, when they're not on the boat, have worked like 4-star kitchens in the resorts and hotels around San Diego. Johnny is skinny little dude. Yeah, and when we went on the trip in June, the other chef is a little bigger dude, kind of my size. I'm like, okay, fat guys know how to cook. I'm good with that. Skinny guy came on and was like, oh wow, man. And we had the other chef when we were last year and he was really good. Johnny came in and just blew our mind. I'm like, okay, I can trust a skinny chef now.
You can trust him.
And he came in and killed it every meal. everything.
Well, and I was talking
Just
to him, the prep he puts in before the trip, like it's
yeah,
pretty, because that kitchen isn't very big, and if you forget something, it ain't come. You can't go run to the store. He had everything dialed in, but I can't
How's the
say
weather?
he put us in the right spot.
what's that?
How was
I
the
said
weather out there when you were there?
captain because he
Oh,
put.
perfect,
It couldn't have been
shorts and
any better.
t-shirt.
Yeah. Couldn't have been a
I
better trip weather-wise.
yeah. I forgot to bring pants or even sweats, anything long sleeve, and didn't need it. I put on a hoodie for maybe a half an hour in the morning and a half an hour in the evening, and that was it.
How about the timing? A week later, and we'd have been in the middle of a hurricane.
Oh yeah,
I
Yeah.
mean, we were right before the hurricane. So I mean, it meant to be a perfect storm or unstorm. You know,
So I'm going to throw
we
out really quick some information on how people can donate to the next one.
so we're gonna start planning for it. We did reserve the same date spot for next year, but I'm watching the fishing from this last week and going, we might want to go a little later. So we might push it to maybe middle of September, beginning of September, something around there. There's not a lot of shows and events that are around this time, so it would be nice to have some other of the off-road community sponsors and stuff come out with this. So I think it would be a good time for that. Just to kind of get a little more of the sponsors that come out and see. We had just a few sponsors out there, and they did a great job. But I think it would be way better to have way more sponsors out there and let them come out and see exactly what happens and why this is important for people to do. So,
Right.
So we'll be releasing that, but we always have heroffroad.org, our website up. There's details on our 501c3 status, when we filed, how we filed, our tax information. We just direct link to the IRS there. We file our 990s. We make sure that all of our documents and everything on our end is always up to date and always in good standing. GuideStar is basically a company. It's a website that ranks nonprofits by their filings, by what they're doing, by any negative reviews or anything in there. So we have a GuideStar. I believe we're platinum on GuideStar, which is kind of like your high level, because we want to be transparent about what we're doing. Whatever we do on the hero side is always transparent and clear and clean. So we always make sure that's out there. So heroffroad.org is the website, and there's always donations there. We're working harder to get some merchandise and other things on there that we can pop up, but definitely a few things to get on. Of course, every year, Patriot Crawl is in Moab the Sunday before EJS, and we do that out there. And that is an event that's free for all veterans, active duty members of the service. And it's a day to bring a Jeep out, come out and wheel with other veterans, as well as a group of our sponsors and some off-road greats. Past few years, we've been wheeling with Jeremy Purick from Rockcrawler, Tony Pellegrino from Genrite, and a few others. We've had Ian Johnson out to hang out with us at a few of the Patriot Crawls. So we've had a number of off-road celebrities and people out there. So we'd like to keep that up, and that's part of the ways we give back and part of the ways that we bring in.
Nice. It's kind of weird that we're discussing this today, being that it's the 22nd anniversary of 9/11. I'm sure a lot of the vets that were on the boat might have some involvement with going overseas from that conflict. So it's just a coincidence that today is the day we're filming this episode on the 22nd anniversary. So just a huge shout out to all those guys, and for all the families, for the families of the members that never made it back. You know, we all appreciate everything that you guys have done.
Thank you.
Definitely. One thing I want to bring up, and hold on a second here. I should have had it down here. So, as a surprise to me, with a few last minute cancellations, we had a few. I talk about Bree and Noah as last minute cancellations. I also had two other last minute additions that popped in, and one was Dominic Frontino.
Yeah.
Dominic Frontino was a friend of mine from way back in the day. We graduated, went to school together, hung out together, kind of grew up together. So someone that I've known for, I don't want to say how many years, but it's been 30 plus, close to 40 years. So he came out, and I hadn't seen Dominic for probably almost that many years. And he's a vet. He's done his tours, and he's part of an organization called Trinity Veterans. Him and I just happened to link up on Facebook about a year or so ago, and haven't really done too much, whatever. And a week before the trip, I saw he went fishing, and this spot opened up, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I know you're not too far. Would you like to come on this trip?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'd like to come." He's like, "But part of my PTSD is that I can't drive long trips by myself." So PTSD was he was in a convoy. Shit happened. So he doesn't like driving by himself in the car. So he's like, can my buddy Brian come? And that was it. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. We had another guy cancel. So I told him, give me a day. Another guy canceled. I'm like, all right, bring Brian. Knew nothing about Brian. He texted or messaged me like the next day. He's like, hey, Brian knows you from something when your time with the Marines. I'm like, I never served. I wasn't a Marine. I don't know what that means. But hold on, more show and tell. So, a few years back, we sent care packages out to a company that was stationed in I can't say where. And when they came back, they put this commemorative helmet up for us, and I went and picked it up, and this thing is badass, and it's part of our Facebook profile images and stuff like that. So, hold on, this is getting. I have a buddy, Ryan Plummer, that was in that company, and he's part of another organization now that does fishing out in San Diego, and he helped us fill that boat with some people that he knew down there. So a lot of the locals came from Heroes on the Water. Brian knows those guys just because of who he is and what he does, and Brian is the guy on Mission Fish. I can't see this as so. So we got this. So Mission Fish is an organization that takes veterans out to do fishing adventures like this. That's all they do.
Yeah.
Just take groups of guys out there, and it gets to do this all the time. And he just, through what he's done and what Brian's done with the veterans and the fishing and this adventures, it's this therapy to get these guys out, and these guys all know each other now, and it's like this group now. Brian is really instrumental in Mission Fish, and we're going to be partnering with them to do more of the fishing adventures. So next year will be a Hero Offroad with Mission Fish out to do something with that we might be able to do 2 to split this up and work this out. So we're going to work on that. Brian, Ray, and I, and a few others will be talking about how to make this happen and see what we can do to maximize what we're doing next year. So out of this trip, in addition to the camaraderie and what we got to do, I got to bring home like some old friends back into my life, bring a new friend in, and really get to expand what we're doing and bring this out. We've always done adventures and stuff, onesie twosies. The Patriot Crawl is our group thing, and that is that event that just like I just sit there and just giddy the whole time, just watching that camaraderie happen. So this trip, I just think about it and I just get all misty and it's like someone turned on the sprinklers around here. I don't know.
You're chopping onions, man. You're chopping onions.
Yeah, someone's got the onions out. I'm not really sure what happens around here, but
is there a cat in the room?
yeah. Think about my allergies. So,
Dude, I want to tell you, Armando, it is important and it is appreciated. 100%. I mean, and I've been telling guys at work and other veterans, like, they're like, oh my God, how did you hear about this? I'm like, get on. And I said, I'll give you the information when it comes up, because it's important what you're doing. And,
Yep.
and
I just want you to know that you are appreciated for real.
and that makes my day every day when I get to hear that and to see what we're doing. And
There goes
Ryan,
my cat again.
and Ryan, this bounces into you. I mean, this is something I can't do myself. None of this I do by myself. I can kind of be the cheerleader. I can kind of help do things, but I can't do it without the incredible partners and sponsors and helpers and everything that goes on with this. It's huge. And
Yeah,
everyone here is a volunteer. No one gets a paycheck from this.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is that other than our minimal expenses for website and whatever we have to pay for bank and whatever goes on with that, everything goes back into the mission. So we're
awesome.
We want to have everything go back as much as possible. If I can get a free website or a discount here and there whenever they do veterans, I always sign up for that. GoDaddy has been gracious and give us free hosting and domain hosting and done a few other things here and there throughout the years. So
That's awesome.
GoDaddy's been a helper for us. I mean, it was not so bad now, but when we first started out, it was a huge thing because it was a couple $100 a year that when we weren't making that much. Yeah, we weren't making that much. I think most of it was coming out of my pocket back then.
Yeah.
So now it's great. So
with your helmet. You're like, what's the guy from Sports Center with the helmet on?
Which one?
You know what I'm talking about?
Are we talking about the Steelers losing again?
Yeah, that's what I couldn't hear you. I got strings in my ear.
So no. Again, there's so much to what goes on here.
No, I know it's not easy.
And what this does for me. This is the reason I keep going. I didn't shack it up 5 years ago when it was kind of running on $0. It was making enough to pay for itself and do what we want to do here and there. But I was like, I can't fund this anymore. So that's about the time I brought Ray on, and Ray and I have been really good about probably maybe it was 6-7 years ago now. Yeah, 6-7. My timing sucks. I don't know years because it's funny. It's funny that we just came across I believe it was our 11th year since my initial corporation filing with Arizona.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then our IRS filing, we're going to go on 11 years now of getting a 501c3. So.
Awesome.
So I always think it's 5 years, but it might have been 7 years ago when Ray and I started this. But but Ray and I have been fortunate to have such great partners and great supporters that
Well, I want you to know you're
keep
doing
this
good
going.
stuff.
And we're doing.
I want you to know you're doing a good job, man. It's awesome.
Thank you, brother. I love this.
The other day, I was kind of thinking about this trip that you're talking about, and I know the expenses that you had to go that went along with it, and I'm just trying to think how I can help out. I'm just a normal guy, and I'm sure my small donations, would help here and there. But I was trying to think, and I even texted you, Armando, like, I'm thinking about doing some more fundraising for you. I'm just throwing out some ideas. So I'm going to start looking into some maybe charitable golf events. I started golfing again, so I think that's one way. There's a lot of golf events that are for charity all the time. So there is no shortage of golfers wanting to donate. So I think that's one avenue. So that's something that I'm going to dedicate to you, Armando, is more time from me to your cause, because it's obviously something that's helping a lot of people. And these are people that need it. These are people that are, serving our country. So I think it's time I got off my elbows, as they say, and did a little bit more. So
definitely, and I appreciate that. And there's plenty of friends around your area that would be more than willing to jump in and give a hand.
Yeah, I'm going to be reaching out to some folks.
Yeah, well,
man. Onions again.
Yeah, there's some good guys out there in your area, Gabe.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people out here that, it's a volunteer.
There's those shady fuckers like Loxley too, though.
Everyone except for Rob Ryan.
Yeah.
Tennessee is the volunteer state, and there's highways named after conflicts of war. There's Korean Veterans Bridge. So this state has a lot of admiration for veterans and active duty. So I think it'll work out just fine.
That's all Appalachia.
Yeah.
But shit, it's a fan. I'm going back to Appalachia. Sure.
Make sure you stop at my place first.
Them old boys raise their own shotgun.
Awesome.
The country lifestyle is definitely I don't want to say it was a culture shock for me, because I've seen the country before, but actually living in it is different from just visiting.
Yeah.
The old saying, the country mile. I finally figured out what a country mile was.
It's more like 30 miles. It's like 30 miles.
Right.
I believe it's the same as a Texas mile. It's like 30 miles.
Yeah, something like that.
Good stuff. There's something special down there, though. That Southern hospitality and the food and how you doing? Like everywhere you go, people are nice. It's weird. So the first time I got called sir out here, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I am not that old. And then I realized that's just the way it is out here. Everyone's respectful. Everyone's sir. Everyone's ma'am. Everyone's please. Everyone's thank you. 100%.
Oh yeah,
and I love it.
It's one of the biggest reasons that I spend so much time in around Nashville. Like when I was traveling east, I was always just everything just goes to Nashville. I could have chose anywhere I wanted to, but I chose Murfreesboro. I chose that area to. Plus I had really good friends there at Chambliss and Jason Rogers and Andrew Bailey that kind of Andrew and Jason starting the shop, and then Chambliss taking over with Jason, and then Chambliss taking over. So I've had a really good friend that's there that's allowed me to park my trailer, park the Jeep, leave the Jeep there as they worked on it, and come back and go around. So it's always been my home away from home when I'm on the road in the East Coast. It's like I'll be in Murfreesboro, be in Nashville, whatever it is. So I love it. I love the area, and if I could move tomorrow, I'd be your neighbor.
I would love that, man.
Man, I don't know
There's a house for sale right across the street from me too.
Armando,
is it on water?
that though.
Yes.
What was that?
The humidity to go from Phoenix to that humidity. That's a jump. Look at
Well, I know.
That's a no for
well,
me.
That's why it'd have to be on a lake.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Get that breeze.
Get the breeze. That's all I do. Just go on the boat all day.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been in dry hot weather, and I've been in humidity with hot weather. I would rather much have the humidity, to be honest with you, than the hot dryness.
I don't know.
It's night and day, because even if it's really humid, you still have that breeze and you're sweating. So that breeze will cool you down.
Yeah, you keep telling yourself that. Over.
Yeah. He's sitting in the AC.
Oh, out faster. That's about it.
Well, he doesn't drink and now he don't smoke, so he's good.
Oh, he ain't
Yeah,
smoking
there you
now?
go.
No, stop smoking.
Shit.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What am I doing with all my time? I put sod in my
F1 car right behind him.
yeah. My sim racing.
I can't.
I started doing a lot of sim racing. I laid sod in my backyard, so I started doing a lot more outside
Oh, that's
gardening
right.
stuff.
You're a homeowner now. You ain't got time for none of that other shit.
He turned into a Mexican.
Yeah, man.
He got his own yard now.
Mexican.
So last week we had a really hot heat wave, right? And I'm in
And
the
you were out there
backyard
in
working.
your house?
I was
Yeah.
out there working, sweating like a slave, sweating like a beaner from that just hopped over. And I was like, man, I am sweating from places that I didn't know I have.
It gets in
There's
your eye.
sweat glands there.
I didn't know I could
Right?
sweat I didn't know I could sweat in my gooch.
Oh yeah, you can.
That powder.
But
All of a
once
sudden, you
that
got
breeze
plaster
came,
Paris down there.
once that breeze came, it started to cool down a little bit from all the sweat that was in my shirt.
With Armando, I'd have to be on a lake or the ocean, one or the other.
Hey, you can
No,
live up.
had to be in a lake.
You can live up in Cheatham County with Matt. He's got a boat. Matt's got like
He's got
3 boats.
17,000 boats.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I think he just bought another one today. He hasn't told Caitlin about.
Right.
Yeah. So he's got 17 boats, but everyone just wants to know where's Dumpy.
Oh.
Too soon.
Too soon. No, it ain't.
That was
That was like 5 years ago. Get out
I
of here.
know.
the recreation
that's
the recreation of Dumpy's accident that one year in Moab was hilarious because we had
Oh, perfect.
hold on, I got it right here.
Moment of silence.
Ryan was
Okay, I
just
lied. Maybe I don't have
wipe
it.
his brow because he was just thinking about Tennessee weather.
So the recreation we had the Artec little tin toy thing that they gave out this one year, and then we had Ming, Armando's alter ego, as a what they call those pop heads
figure.
or pop
Pop
figure.
yeah.
So we put this figurine in this little Jeep, and we flipped it upside down on rock pile.
I have.
Oh,
Do you have the
man.
picture still? I have the picture.
Do you have the picture?
I'll have the picture. I'll send it to you.
Oh, awesome!
I thought you had it right now. I was like, oh, that's precious.
Let's see. I probably do have it somewhere.
But Matt was not too happy about that because it was still
Yeah,
a
whatever.
little too early for him to,
too
relive and
soon.
all that sort of thing. Yeah, back then it was too soon. Today it is perfect. No one cares
Yeah,
anymore.
this is fun.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
So Ryan, let's talk to you a little bit about Belock Marketplace. Tell us about it and where they can find you.
Our main stream is Facebook. You find us in any of the rock crawling pages or beadlockmarketplace.com. Feel free to go to the website, check out the wheels we offer. We've been selling wheels for about 4 years now. Started during COVID. They're pretty heavy. And now we do it fully on the side still. We have our own own warehouse. We stock wheels, so it's not your typical drop shipper. Dirty Life Vision, KMC, Black Rhino, Battleborn, Trail Ready, any of the major brands. We're just trying to help consumers get the best price without going under map.
Nice. Quote unquote.
That's it, man. As long as we don't advertise, people always ask, why don't you have prices on anything? Feel free to message me and we'll talk about it. We can't post pricing because it's under map. That's all.
What's the hottest wheel right now you're selling?
We've been selling Battleborn like crazy. They have that flow form cast wheel, which is stronger than your normal cast wheel. We have guys running them in We Rock. We have guys running them at KOH. We have your normal Toyotas in your backyard running them. To me, it's the best bang without going to a forged wheel for the strength. We sell a ton of Dirty Life. Dirty Life is the bread and butter. That OG 9302 Roadkill. You had them. Mm-hmm. You had a set on your Jeep. I have a set on my Jeep. Yep. But the Dirty Life goes back quite a ways, and the best bang for your buck. I mean, your $1,450 shipped for a set of 4 is pretty unheard of, and nowadays.
For a Jeep these days, price.
Yeah.
And you're still sponsoring John in the side by side?
Yeah, his car's up for sale. He actually ordered a new Maverick. The one that looks like it's got the Dodge mirrors out the side over the front tires. He wants to start over on a new platform, so his Can-Am is up for sale, and it's at a hell of a steal. $37,000 for a full race key turn, ready to go KOH rig. So we're still going to sponsor his new car. We're still going to sponsor his new car in the 4900 series coming up at KOH. He doesn't know it yet, so I hope he watches this. We were talking about it, and I was waiting to make a decision. And we said, yeah, we'll throw some wheels and tires at his race program next year to make sure he doesn't have to worry about that. It's just one less thing.
Shout out to John Colley, because he's also a veteran.
He is, and trust me, I tried for 3 days to get that man on this boat. I think he's afraid of the water.
He's a big dude. He doesn't float.
Dad. Noah's dad.
Oh, he's all muscle, dude. He's all muscle. He'll sink straight to the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, he's okay. John is 6'2", maybe? Probably
he's
solid.
He's taller than that. 6'3", 6'4". Yeah.
And he's a solid, probably 250. And he does Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a motherfucker you want to fuck with.
Right. Yeah, he's one I want in my corner. He's a soft teddy bear. In person, no. He's a soft teddy bear, but if you piss him off, I would not want to be in that room.
No, he's a great guy.
Until he isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. True that. True that.
He was looking out here in Tennessee at one point. When I just first moved out here, he actually flew out here, was looking at land to buy. I don't know why he didn't, but I wish he did, because he's a really good guy. And the areas that he was looking at, I'm now living in. So if he ever rethinks it, I'd love to be his neighbor.
You got a house for sale across the street, right?
There's a few. It's a brand new subdivision.
Perfect.
Yep. So anyone that's looking for a house, what's that?
Another rental for you.
No, there's no rentals over here.
No, I don't need no more.
Oh, you meant for Ryan?
Yeah, for Ryan.
Oh.
He's a slumlord.
How is that house over there?
Oh, this guy. At least I'm not a Steelers fan.
He talks so much shit about the Steelers defense going to just get on Purdy.
I've been in hibernation. I didn't put pants on. I don't even have pants on now because of the Steelers loss yesterday.
Don't stand up, please. Don't stand
Do me a favor. Keep your camera pointed up.
I've been hungover all morning, all day.
Were you drinking just because? Were you drinking just because it was Sunday, or because you lost so bad?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, it was a rough one. I was talking. I'm so glad I didn't have to go to work this morning, because I was talking shit at work.
Of course you were. You were talking shit all over Facebook until you weren't.
until I wasn't.
That's why I texted you. Make sure you didn't jump off your roof.
Oh shit. That's a long way down.
The phone was blowing up. Everybody was like, calling to give me shit.
That's what happens when you
Right.
talk shit for no reason.
Yeah,
It wasn't even
so.
Everyone is zero wins, 0 losses, and this guy's just already thinking we're winning the Super Bowl. This is our year. This is our Super Bowl. This is it. This is our destiny.
Well, he needs 6 good weeks.
I will give him this. At least he didn't lose to Detroit.
Ooh. Right? Or the Raiders.
Them Kansas, yeah. The Raiders, that too.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson needs another new coach or new stove or something because he's still not cooking.
You need to
Yep.
All right, guys, I think it's time to wrap it up. And once again, thanks to Sean and thanks to Ryan for joining us. Armando, thank you for all you do in Hero Off-Road. And shout out to all the vets that were there. Shout out to all of the vets that weren't there, that are just, hanging around and living their life. Thank you for your
shout out
service.
to sponsors who couldn't do it without. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, and to all those vets who couldn't be with us, we want to do this again. We want to continue doing this. Stay around for us for tomorrow. We have more to do.
Yep.
That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Call somebody.
Thanks for having me, Gabe. Appreciate it. Armando,
Thanks, guys.
for having me. Thank you.
Thanks again for everything, Ryan. And Sean, thanks for coming and being a great part of this trip, and definitely bringing Noah. Love that kid. He's
He really appreciated it, man. It was a trip of a lifetime for him.
a good time.
Yeah. He's
All right, guys.
Great kid.
Well, until next time, we're signing off from here.
chew quietly.
Take it easy. Yes, sir.